In a city of giants, where the shadows are long and the secrets are even bigger, one detective is small enough to see the truth. All right, let's get into the incredible world of Mouse, PI for hire.
You know, the great Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who gave us Sherlock Holmes, he really hit the nail on the head with this one. He knew the world is just full of these obvious clues that we all miss. But what happens if your whole life is lived in those overlooked details?
And that right there, that's the genius hook of this game. It completely flips that classic detective idea around and asks, what if the detective was the only one who could see the obvious because he's just as small as the clues are?
So let's really dig into this world. What does it actually mean to be a tiny investigator in a city that wasn't built for you?
This is really the heart of it all. You're a mouse PI, so you're not just solving a case, you're literally surviving a world of giants. An armchair, to you, is like a skyscraper. A shadow isn't just a shadow, it's a perfect hiding place. So every single part of the investigation isn't just a puzzle, it's this huge, epic expedition.
Okay, so that's the setup, which is awesome, but how does it actually feel to play the game? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of solving these mouse-sized mysteries.
At its core, this game is a classic point-and-click adventure. And hey, if you're new to that genre, don't worry, it's super simple. It's all about using your brain, looking closely at everything around you, and, well, pointing and clicking on things to find clues and solve puzzles.
This is the core gameplay loop, right? It's simple, but man, is it addictive. First, you explore this massive, oversized world. Then, you gather all these little clues that humans would totally miss. And finally, just like any good PI, you put all the pieces together. It's pure detective work, just from a completely different point of view.
And this picture? This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. To us, this is just a sidewalk. But to our hero, it's this huge, sprawling crime scene. That tiny scrap of paper isn't just garbage. It could be the key lead that a human detective would have stepped right over without even noticing.
Yeah, this change in perspective is literally everything. It makes the most boring, everyday stuff totally extraordinary. Think about it. A button that fell off a coat? It's not just a button anymore. It's a massive piece of evidence. And trying to get from the floor to the kitchen counter? That's not a small step. It's a dangerous climb, a whole adventure in itself.
But you know, a cool game mechanic is one thing. What really makes this game so special is the vibe. The atmosphere is just dripping with style. So let's talk about how the creators built what they call a charming noir.
Okay, now this table's really interesting. Let's break it down. You can see how the writers balance everything out. The dialogue has a high humor level, which keeps things from getting too serious. But then look, the mystery depth and the emotional stakes, they're cranked way up. This balance is actually key to great indie storytelling. The humor gets you invested, and it makes those high-stakes moments hit you that much harder.
So how do they pull off this whole gritty but charming thing? Well, it all comes down to some really smart art direction. You've got that classic, high-contrast lighting that just screams noir, moody colors, and textures that really sell the scale of the world. It's all designed to make you feel like this tiny detective in a big, shadowy city, where a beam of light isn't just for mood, it's actually pointing you to the next clue.
And here's the result of all that work. Just look at this office. The single lamp, the maps on the wall, those deep shadows. It's pure noir perfection. You get this feeling of being cozy and in danger at the same time, which makes the world itself feel like a character in the story. It's just a masterclass in visual storytelling.
So you're probably wondering, who are the masterminds behind this incredibly cool idea? Let's pull back the curtain and talk about the developers, NK Games.
So meet NK Games. And what's really important to know is that they're an indie studio. That means they've made a choice not to chase after the latest blockbuster trends. Instead, they're focused on making something totally different, something deep, memorable, and truly innovative.
And you can really see their philosophy here. It's all about substance. They want to tell these intimate, personal stories where the choices you make actually feel like they matter. For them, a game isn't just something you play, it's a journey you go on.
And this isn't just talk, right? You can literally see that philosophy at work in this image. This isn't some mass-produced asset. You can see the craftsmanship, the hand-drawn quality of the art, and you just know that every single clue was placed with care.
I absolutely love this quote from the dev team. They took the hero's biggest weakness, his tiny size, and turned it into the game's biggest strength. And honestly, that's where the real innovation happens, right? When you turn a challenge into an incredible opportunity.
So, we've got a killer concept and a super passionate team. But what does the rest of the world think? Let's take a look at the buzz building around this game.
And this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? In a market full of huge, flashy games, can something so small make a truly big impact?
Well, if the early buzz is anything to go by, the answer is a huge yes. The feedback from people who've played the demos is just fantastic. They're loving the whole mouse in a human world perspective, they're raving about the gritty atmosphere, and they're saying the controls are super easy to pick up. The community is definitely excited.
So yeah, the stage is pretty much set. The release is just around the corner, and all eyes are on this one. Everyone's waiting to see if the official reviews from critics and players are going to match all this early hype. I gotta say, this has all the makings of a breakout indie classic.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. In an industry that's so often focused on giant worlds and epic blockbusters, Mouse PI is a powerful reminder to look a little closer. It suggests that sometimes the best stories and the most amazing ideas aren't in the big picture, but in the small things we walk past every single day.